Hello friends, Donny Carr here with another in the studio. In this video I have a few things to share. The first of which is how you can rebalance the stereo and mid information to squeeze a little bit more juice and excitement out of your breakdowns / arrangements. And in the second part of the video, I want to show you how you can bring out and enhance the width of sounds in a really pleasant way. So I have a little demo here I put together to illustrate these points. It's nothing special, but let's have a listen so you know what we're working with. Here we go. Okay, I think you get the point. So the first tip is happening down here. Now this is something that I have mentioned on this channel in previous videos, but I haven't shown you an actual example of it in action. So let's have a look. So I have all of my melodic elements here running through this synth bus. And on this synth bus, I've applied this little utility plugin from Voxengo. And essentially what I'm doing in this little breakdown section is I am increasing the volume of the stereo information while at the same time decreasing the mid signal. Let's hear that in action. So obviously this isn't affecting the pad because it's not playing in that part, but you can hear the arps growing in width, the size, and the mid signals kind of getting a little bit more distant, and then it resets at that little drop. It's not crazy noticeable or in your face, but it's definitely there, and I think it makes it a little bit more exciting and interesting. Let's hear it without. So I'm just going to mute the automation clips. And with. So there you go. I think it just is adding a little something extra there. Now this is something I don't do on every track, but occasionally I will pull it out of the toolbox and use it. So like I mentioned, I'm using this technique on a group of sounds, but you can use this on one single sound, obviously. You can even use this on an auxiliary track, for instance. And if you do use it like on a send return auxiliary track, you can be a lot more heavy-handed and exaggerate this effect even more if you'd like, I think. Another example of when you might use this type of technique is, say, for instance, you have like a classic, chorus, verse, song structure, and you're working with a lot of vocals maybe. Maybe in the chorus, you can add a little extra width or increase the side or stereo information of some of the vocal parts in the chorus section only, and then reset it back to normal after the chorus is done. Another thing to mention is, maybe you're using this technique in a longer breakdown. You can be a lot more gradual with it, and you don't have to reset it to normal at like a drop section. Sometimes I like to just reset the balance of the mids and the sides a little bit more gradually over a longer period of time after it drops back in. So it's a really simple tip, but it can give you a little extra juice, and a little breakdown or whatever. So try it out. Let me know if it works for you. The second part of this video is bringing out the width in sounds. So let's say, for instance, you are at the end stages of the production process and you're kind of referencing your track against some other tracks that you like, and you notice that, for instance, maybe in the mid-range, you feel like your track's lacking a little bit of width there. So this is what you can do. I have all of my melodic elements going over to these auxiliary tracks, and I've set up one auxiliary track, which I called width. And we're going to listen to just that track for a minute. So we'll just solo that. So on this auxiliary track, I've applied the same utility plugin, but in this case, I've muted the mid signal. So all we're allowing to pass through this aux track is the side or stereo information. So you can hear there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is EQ this. Just to clean things up. In this case, I've just rolled off the lows and the tops. If I was doing this for real, I might spend a little bit more time dialing in the EQ in a little bit more detail, but this is fine for the example. The next thing I would suggest doing is saturating or distorting the stereo information. And this is, yeah, you want to just rough up the edges a little bit, bring out some harmonics in the sides. So you can use whatever saturation or distortion plugin that you like to use. I don't think it really matters too much, and you can, go as heavy-handed with it as you feel you need to. In this case, I've just used the little defacer distortion plugin. It's just giving it a little bit of boost and kind of roughing it up a little bit. Okay. The next thing you want to do is compress the distorted stereo signal. And again, you can use whatever compressor you like to use. I don't think it matters that much, really. Essentially, what you want to do is bring up that distorted stereo signal, and then we're going to blend it in with everything else. So I've used the OTT for this, and I've kind of mixed it in around 50% and pulled down all the lows. And let's hear that. And that's kind of pulling up all that low level information and kind of bringing out the distorted, the harmonics that we added with the distortion. That's why you want to add the compressor at the end of the chain. That's important. And then once we have that done, all I'm going to do is blend this into taste. So let's do it. Let's see how it sounds mixed in with everything else. Yeah, I think that's blending in nicely and really bringing out the width of those melodic elements. So that's another way, that's a way that you can bring out the width of sounds without just, slapping some sort of stereo widening plugin on whatever. So I like doing it this way because it doesn't tamper with the mono compatibility at all, and I have way more flexibility and control when I'm doing it in parallel on an auxiliary track like this. So that's kind of my preferred method, but don't get me wrong, I still do use some stereo enhancement plugins and whatnot. On occasion I still will use that, because sometimes you do want to actually put it on the insert and actually spread a sound out. There's cases when you might want to do that. So, but this is another way to bring out the width of sounds, and it's kind of my preferred method. So hopefully you found that useful. I also invite you to join the conversation and get involved with my new Q&A series. So if you do have a question, please comment it in episode 2 of my Q&A videos, and just drop it in the comments of that video and I'll answer your question in the next Q&A. So hopefully you found this video useful. I'll catch you soon, everyone. Take care. Cheers.